You've read the title, so let me begin by acknowledging something. If you've been cheated on, this conversation may touch a very tender place because the confusion, the anger, the loss of trust, the questioning of what was real and what wasn't, those are deeply human experiences. And nothing in this reflection is meant to dismiss that pain or excuse the choices that caused it. I'm here trying to explore the questions that appeared for me when I looked beneath the act itself. And this I dedicate to Neil because he was the one who asked me to make this log because of the struggle that he sees young people dealing with. So, coming back to the point. When we talk about cheating, we talk about betrayal, we talk about loyalty, we talk about broken trust. But I don't think we spend enough time talking about the agreements that existed before any of those things happen. And that makes me wonder, what exactly did two people agree to in the first place? What was spoken? What was understood? What was assumed? Or what was inherited from culture, movies, social media, and generations before us? Because two people can say we are together and mean completely different things. Two people can say, I love you, and still carry entirely different expectations about what that love is supposed to look like. So when we talk about cheating, we need to understand what agreement was made in the first place. But sitting with that realization, another thing appeared for me. Even if an agreement was broken, right? If it was articulated clearly and still broken, what was the person looking for? Not who. What? What were they hoping to find? Validation, excitement, feeling desired, feeling seen, feeling important, feeling alive. Because if another person has the power to create those feelings inside me, then eventually another person has the power to take them away too. You see what I'm saying, right? Where is the power? Now, I wonder if that is where many of us get lost. We are taught to find someone, very few of us are taught to find ourselves. And I've created an entire log, Finding Nemo, just to address that, right? And we are told to find someone who makes us feel loved and wanted and chosen and important and alive. But nobody teaches us how those experiences arise inside us in the first place. So we hand another human being the responsibility for creating an inner experience we haven't yet learned to create ourselves. And then we become disappointed when they fail, because how could they not? But also, how can another human being possibly carry all that burden? And maybe this is the realization that changed the direction of my thinking completely. We mistake another person's presence as the source of our experience. Think about that. We make another person's presence as the source of our experience. And I'm reminded of a movie where a young woman asks her therapist whether there is such a thing as one perfect relationship for a lifetime, something like a soulmate. And the response of the therapist was something I found fascinating. He said, Why one love? Why do we place such a huge burden on one person to meet every need? To be our best friend, a lover, a companion, a therapist, or adventure partner, intellectual equal, emotional anchor, and source of fulfillment all at once. And while I don't know whether I agree with every part of that idea, I do think there is wisdom inside that. Because different people awaken different parts of us. A friend may awaken laughter, a mentor may awaken courage, a child may awaken tenderness, a coach may awaken possibility, a partner may awaken intimacy. Human beings help each other discover ourselves. But discovering ourselves and growing ourselves are not the same thing. Because growth remains our individual responsibility. And maybe that's what fascinates me most about relationships. Not whether they last, not whether they end, not even whether they hurt us, but what they reveal. Every meaningful relationship becomes a mirror. It shows us our insecurities, our wounds, our fears, expectations, blind spots, beauty, our capacity to love. And once the mirror reveals something, the responsibility comes back to us. Because the mirror can only show me my reflection. Only I can decide what I do once I see it, right? Which brings me back to cheating. So, if you've experienced it, perhaps one of the most powerful questions isn't why did they do it? But what was I expecting this person to provide for me? Not because the hurt isn't real, it is very real. And not because the betrayal is acceptable, it definitely is not. But because hidden inside every painful experience is an opportunity to understand ourselves more deeply. I believe in that. So, what was I seeking? What part of me became dependent on their presence? What feeling did I believe they were responsible for creating? And have I learned how to cultivate any of that within myself? Because the goal was never to find someone to complete us. It was to become increasingly responsible of our own inner lives and then invite another person into that journey. Not to rescue us, not to complete us, but to help us see ourselves more clearly. And maybe that's where I want to leave this reflection today. Relationships struggle when two people arrive carrying empty cups and spend their lives arguing about whose job it is to fill them. But something different becomes possible when the two people learn to fill their own cups and then come together to share what overflows. The relationship becomes a place of creation rather than consumption, right? And perhaps that's the invitation. Not to look for someone who will finally make us whole, but to become increasingly whole ourselves. And then meet another human being from that place. Not asking, what can you give me? But wondering, what can we create together? Because maybe the purpose of human relationships was never to complete us. Maybe it was to reveal us. And once we see what has been revealed, the growth is ours.